Dr. Sarli? Okay, we're gonna got it. Okay, audience for citizens and staff. Is there anyone who would like to say anything? Hearing none, I'm moving on. Oh, wait, I didn't call to order. Call to order at 7:02. And then any audience for citizens or staff. So we will move on to correspondence to the board, of which I don't have any. Do you have any, Dr. Sarli?
I do not have it.
So we will go on to student recognition. Are we recognizing students?
We are. I'm gonna share my screen in just a second so you guys can see our slideshow. If you just give me one moment.
Mark, thank you. I can tell they're ready. They look good.
All right.
I'm hearing somebody talking.
Okay, yeah, I have to turn the TV down a little bit.
All right. Are you guys able to see this slideshow?
It says student recognitions.
You got it. So we have
Okay.
a few students we're recognizing tonight for their artwork, which is very exciting. And I'm going to start right off the bat with our fire prevention poster contest county winner, who is Austin Waite. He's in grade 5, and that's him right there with his certificate. He, being a county winner, is very big. So he won at our local level and then the county level. So he's going to have a luncheon at the state with all of the county winners, and it's a really big ordeal for his his artistic winning in his poster contest. So I was hoping to get a picture of his poster, but they have his poster. Maybe next time you guys will be able to see it.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Congratulations to
Very
him.
And then moving into our Songbird Art Contest. This is a national one. So we just saw a local and then a county Connecticut-based one. This is a national art contest. So our first place, our third grader first place winner, Liam Thomas O'Brien. That's the artwork right there for you guys to see.
That is quality to be first place in the nation.
Yes.
That's right. And that's for the Art of Conservation Songbird Art Contest. So you'll get to see a couple different ones as well. Because
do we know what kind of bird that is?
This is the songbird. These are all songbirds. It was maybe Mrs. Sankini will join us later to give us a little more detail. So this was a TV project. And if she's able to join us later, she'll give us some more information about that. But it is a nationally recognized contest that our students learned about the songbird and then were able to illustrate their understandings and their depictions of it. We're very fortunate here. Evelyn Wells was the second place for third grade, and that's her drawing right there.
Second place in the nation?
That's right.
Oh,
That's incredible.
And then we have our fourth grade winners. So we have second place for fourth grade, Madison Murphy.
Wow.
And then our last recognition of the evening is going to be our third place grade 4 winner of Liam McKinnon, and that's his songbird drawing right there for you.
Oh, with a centipede in its mouth. That is wonderful.
That is.
We're very proud of them. We were able to send certificates home and congratulate our students on their winnings.
Wonderful.
Thank
you.
Very talented students.
And congratulations. Yes, Mary Ellen?
Dr. Farley, where are they displayed?
The drawings, Mary Ellen?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the students have received them back just yet. So that was when they were submitting them through.
I think it'd be nice if they put them in town hall for a while.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. We'll be sure to pass that along once we get those back.
Even in the library where the kids go in.
And and they also do art shows at the public library. So as long as they don't mind parting with these pictures for a while, they could be on display.
I think they would love that.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. And we'll say hello to Juan. I hadn't realized he joined. Hello, Juan. Okay, approval of the minutes from 2/22/2023, 12/21/2022, and 2/15/2023. Do we have a motion?
Motion
So
to
moved,
accept.
Mary Ellen.
Second.
Okay, Mary Ellen and Diane. Any discussion? Hearing none. I'll take a roll based on how you show up on my screen, which would be John. John, do you want to vote for approving the
Yes.
minutes?
I
Okay.
approve, yes.
Mary Ellen,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Juan. Would you like to vote, Juan?
Lawmakers in the state have strengthened a woman's right to.
I don't know what to call that. How about no response? Okay, let's move on. Superintendent's report.
It'd be helpful if I unmuted myself. My apologies. I was just I just sent a message to Juan to see if he had audio issues. Okay. So the first up here is our two different draft budgets that you received in your board packets. We have one that is sitting at the 3% unaffiliated, and then the 3.5%. The difference is minimal between the two, which I'm sure you noticed. So we have the 3.5% increase, showing a total overall of 4.44, with the 3% being 4.33. There were additional changes that we made to this that you probably realized. So we had someone who was going to take insurance and then didn't take insurance, and then we also had to increase our projected insurance because we anticipated 20%, and it was that increase of 25.7. And then our dental actually was at 0 for the next year. So those were the changes that you will have seen, which you received again last week. So those are the two that are in front of you. I can answer any questions. Otherwise, I'm sure you guys probably want to have a discussion about which one to go with at this point. Rose, you're muted, just so you know. I think you're talking.
I'm not hearing her.
I think she's just trying to find the button, or maybe us on her screen. It's possible.
No, this other screen popped up and then I had to find my way back.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks. So, is it it is under, it's a discussion item under the superintendent's report. Okay, do we have any opinions?
Hey, Mark Becker.
Huh?
I think this 3.5, I mean, it doesn't really grossly affect the budget. And I think it is consistent with what the town did over the last 2 years. We had gone a 3% last year. The town did 3.5. Oh, sorry, no. We did 3.5 last year. The town did 4. This year, the town's doing 3. But overall, it's a 7% increase. So I would support the 3.5.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mark, would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we accept the 2023 to 2024 budget with a 3.5% increase for the non-certified staff for the total budget of 2,140,288.
I'll second, Mary Ellen.
Okay, any further discussion?
Thanks for watching us here at 7. Oh, that's-
Hearing none, I will take the roll based on how you show up on my computer. John,
Yes.
Mary Ellen,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes,
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Juan.
No.
Thank you all. The motion carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses and 1 no. Okay, Dr. Sarli, would you like to move on?
Yes, so then we have our 23-24 academic calendar. So just to clarify, we had already approved our Board of Education meeting calendar for the year. This is for the 23-24 academic calendar. So this was a collaborative effort, not just within our RESC and our local, Hampton, Scotland, Region 11 collaboration, but also with our teachers and aligning our days, especially with professional development up, so that if we wanted to have shared professional development as we're entering that state requirement of the science of reading to have professional development shared costs amongst us, that was a priority for our staff as well as our neighbors. So what you'll see reflective in there is the full day professional development days, as well as the half day professional development days that are aligned to our nearby towns, which was important for our staff and for our professional development needs moving forward to implement this successfully for students. You'll see that it's a very similar calendar to this year in terms of when we're starting and when we're ending. And hopefully we don't have a lot of snow like we did this year. So if there's any discussion that wants to be had or any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I'll have a question, but Diane could go first too if she has one.
I do not.
No. Mark Becker, Rose, is it all right if I go ahead?
Of course.
I was just wondering, was there any discussion, because I think at the state level, they've been actually talking about like modifying holidays, and I'll use Good Friday as an example. Like some towns are not taking Good Friday off anymore, just because we don't necessarily take a lot of the other holidays off for other religions and stuff like that, but I didn't know if that was discussed at all. I think we aligned to the EastCon calendar. Some of the other towns that I know of don't, but so I just didn't know if it even was a discussion point.
That's a good question, Mark. In our group, it didn't come up. And like you said, we did align very, very closely to that EastCon RESC calendar.
Thank you.
I just want to say I think it's a good calendar and I like the presentation. It's really easy to read.
Yes, that credit goes to our executive assistant, Ramona. She made that definitely easier to read.
I like it too very much. It's just small because we have so much to fit, but that can't be helped. But it is easy to read. Mark, did you want to say something?
I just how are we going to make sure that it gets out to the parents, and just are we sending it out this year already, or will it be something over the summer that gets sent out? Or I just want to make sure they get it in a timely manner.
So Sam is on here, so she could probably answer that better than I could at this point for you.
As soon as it's approved, we can post it on the web page.
Okay.
on the webpage, it's very convenient to access. When you click it, it comes up as a document and you can save it right on your phone for the whole year. But we also can send out copies, hard copies, like to hang on your refrigerator.
Are
So
you going to be sending those home with the kids?
as soon as it's approved, we would do that.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to approve, Rose?
Great.
Rose, before we vote, can I ask a question?
You may.
Sure, thank you. Dr. Sarli, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, it seemed to me like last minute notice that there was a professional development the following day. And I think the parents should also get a hard copy besides just be dependent on technology to get everybody to know what's going on at the school. Because that one day of professional development threw us off because we hadn't been expecting it and we weren't really warned. So that, and do we know anything about okay, I'm sorry, I'll ask later. But that's it for right now. Thank you.
Yeah, Juan, do you mind if I just ask, did you not get the, like this current school year's, calendar hard copied sent home?
Not that I know of, not that I've seen one.
Okay. I appreciate the information.
And we pick one up at the school?
We can certainly have copies at the school, absolutely. I'm questioning myself because this was right around the time that I also had started. So I'm wondering, Sam, did we send hard copies home?
We send them in the home to school folder.
Okay.
So it would come in, August, September.
Got it. Okay. All right, Juan, thank you so much for the information. That's very helpful for us.
Oh, okay. Any further discussion about the motion? Hearing
I didn't
none?
make,
Oh.
wait, Rose, I didn't actually state it, and we don't have
Oh.
a second. I move to approve the 2023-24 school calendar as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, Mary Ellen and Mark. Okay, and I guess I'll take a roll again based on how you show up on my screen. So that'll be John,
Yes.
Mary Ellen,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Juan.
No.
Juan, I'm sorry, you have a hand up. Did I miss calling on you?
No. You're okay.
Okay.
Thank
Oh,
you.
great. Okay. We'll move on to the principal's report.
Hello, everybody. I have a little competition here, but things seem to be under control. So I shared a little about the Read Across America, and I added a few things for parents because I've been receiving just not formally, but just information from parents that they've been reading the board minutes and reading my report. So I thought I would share something that I thought that might be helpful to them. We did do staff development, both on the science of reading, and we did SRBI, the new CT SEDS switch over for special ed, and progress monitoring. And we had a subcommittee on that day that also started to talk about an action plan for the science of reading, to get teachers' input on, not everyone is part of the process. It's a small group. The kids are getting ready. The Team C is getting ready for Nature's Classroom. The PTO's working on field day. A lot of things they're working on. They did Munson's candy and fundraiser, and they're very excited about doing Touch a Truck. They've gotten a few people that I've never heard of it before myself, but I'm being informed. So they have some people that have agreed to have their truck in, and it'll be an outside Saturday event for the community to have kids touch the truck, get their pictures taken, and the PTO will not be charging but asking for donations. We had parent teacher conferences. Our attendance was a little bit low, but one of our teachers was ill, so I think that contributed to the numbers. And we're getting ready to go over to Woodstock. I'm calling it the Hyde Academy because that's the blast from the past. But they've opened back up their literacy performances, and they're doing pout pout fish for preschoolers and kindergartners. I hope will also join. I think I speed talked through most everything that's been happening since our last meeting.
Hey, Rose, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to elaborate on two of the things that Sam spoke about real quick.
Okay.
So the science of reading the professional development that we're undergoing is that network improvement community that we are one of those 5 districts that are part of. So they came to our school, I think it was either last week or the week before, and did a full walkthrough. And so as a team, so from not just my perspective, but mine, Sam's, our SRBI teacher, Mr. Gervais, as well as the science of reading experts, walked through our building. We were able to see the literacy block for our kindergarten, our team A, which is at grade 1-2, and our team B, which is at 3-4. And that's how we're able to collect data, and we use that to triangulate against our current data that we looked at from last month, if you remember. And so with all of those data points together is how we're driving and figuring out something that we can leverage immediately to make differences in what we're seeing, because we're seeing great gains. And as we know, the finer we look and the more we peel it back, the better results that we're going to get from our students. So we're super excited about that site visit. And next week we will be with the 5 districts in Hartford to pull through that layer a little bit further to create action steps towards instruction for all of our teachers. That one teacher in particular is going to push out in her classroom to be able to progress monitor what that looks like for the rest of the year. So we're very excited about the work that we're doing with that network improvement community. Additionally, I'm not sure if we had a formal update on this, but we do have a partnership with the Audubon Society, and they are utilizing one of our spaces in order to preserve books. And so this has just been a wonderful collaboration because our students got to take an in-house field trip, we called it, to be able to see that process and partake in it. And so that has been a wonderful collaboration between the two, and we're looking forward to see what it looks like as they wrap up their project and our kids get to actually go over there and see it back in his study. So just to elaborate on some of those points for you.
Thank you. And I will just add that I noticed in the report, although one pre-K student left, we still have 80 students, so we're slowly building back up. No, we have 82 students, excuse me. So we are a little more quickly building back up. which is good to hear and see. Okay, business
Rose.
court. Yes, Juan.
I have a question for Sam.
Okay.
Sam,
Hi.
what's the normal percentage of parents who attend parent-teacher conferences
In the
in the building?
in the fall, it's like 100%.
Yep.
And in the fall, or in the spring rather, it goes down to about 90%.
Okay. What happens to the parents who don't make it? And are they allowed, or are they given time to contact the school and try to set up
Yeah.
an alternative date?
Yes, that's already been happening.
Okay.
So yes, they get their choice of how they want to meet and when they want to meet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question, Sam.
Hi, Diane.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Nature's Classroom, does that take place at Goodwin?
No,
No?
it takes place in Massachusetts up at Beckett.
Ah,
It's part of a Project Adventure,
yeah,
and
that could be happening closer.
it sometimes does. It depends on it. They weigh different things. There's
Mhm.
different ones. So after they go and come back,
Yep.
I'll have some more information.
Mhm.
But yeah, Beckett up in Massachusetts.
Hmm. Who's in charge of that?
Do you mean like who's supervising the kids?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's Mrs. Milton. Mrs. Milton goes with them.
Is she is she one of the teachers?
Yep. She's the Team C teacher.
Team C teacher?
Yep. And
Okay.
six,
Is she there every day?
yes, she's there every day.
Okay.
One of the things that's different this year is that they're going on the week that it's Good Friday. So they're coming back a day earlier than they normally do.
Uh-huh.
So, but the program was initiated with Scotland and Chaplin. They have been there a few, several years ago. Scotland dropped out, but Chaplin
Yep.
still goes, and it gives the sixth graders an opportunity to work with the people that they're going to have as classmates the next year. So
Uh-huh.
that was one of the initial goals in starting the Nature Classroom program, was that the three schools collaborated together and the kids got to work with those students.
So it's like a pre-meet type of
Yeah,
thing?
exactly. It's very structured. It's very educational.
Mhm.
It's very demanding. And every year the kids come back and it's like a rites of passage sort of, because they
Mhm.
come back and they're more reflective and um it you it's just, I've seen it for so many years, and I I I think it's a great experience.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Goodwin's a good experience.
And during COVID, we did do Goodwin.
Yeah, I
And
know you did.
we try to
I'm on
do
the
good. We try to
Go
do
ahead.
Goodwin when we try to fit them in, like when we can budget that, because
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't cost as much and everybody can go.
Yeah.
So our Arbor Day is coming up, and we'll probably look at Goodwin for a field trip. They have environmental teachers over there, and not all of our teachers are trained, but some of our teachers are trained for environmental education. So
Uh-huh.
we make plans.
When you say doesn't cost as much, uh, do you mean that Goodwin is charging, or you mean the bus ride and all that?
The bus ride and sometimes they'll have a presenter and it's like $50 or something.
Hmm,
So
maybe we can talk at the next I have a board meeting with them, as a matter of fact, this coming week. So maybe we can waive that.
yep. Well, they have to hire staff.
Hmm. Yeah,
We're utilizing that staff, so
yeah,
and the fee is so low. It's like it's but yeah, if you're having a meeting, I know they're looking for staffing right now.
yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah, I know that.
but you and I can chat about this without
We can.
monopolizing all of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you know me, I can just go on and on.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that, folks.
That's okay. You had legitimate question. Business coordinators report, Mrs. LaHoo.
Good evening, everyone. I sent out the budget versus actuals. If anyone has questions, I'm happy to entertain them.
Mark?
Not on that, Sally, but I saw that you sent out the auditors. I think right up to, or the report for that. I honestly haven't had a chance to look through it, but was there anything that would be worth the board knowing about, or was it all pretty straightforward?
It was pretty straightforward, nothing different than usual. There's fund balance information in there, but you get those numbers from me anyway. Yeah, I don't think there's anything. The capital non-recurring balance is in there, and I'm happy to bring that next time. I didn't pull it out for this time, but that might be a number worth sharing. But yeah, there's nothing nothing in there that doesn't come across to you already.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, Mom?
Sally,
Yes, one.
did our ECS grant money change from the year before?
Let's see, I know it's changing from next year, but that money goes right to the town one, so that's not money that I handle.
Okay, because we're gonna get hit with a really big
Yes, over
reduction
70,
next year.
yeah, over $70,000 cut
Yes.
next year.
$74,060.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to know. Thank you.
I would just like to comment on your report for this year's budget. It's a tight year. We've had several expenses come up. But we've only spent 58.49% of the budget so far.
Yes, so we've had some increases in school readiness funding as well as tuition, so that's helping us. And a lot of the SRBI position is funded through grants, and that gets taken out up front. So more of that expense will show up later on in the year. We haven't had any major maintenance repairs this year, which is a blessing. So that's also been helping us out.
I know in the we have the balloon checks, so
Yes,
that's a big expense right at the end of the year.
yes.
But it looks like you all are doing a nice job managing the budget.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll move on to, okay, we have discussion and possible action of policy numbers, whoops, 4113.12 and 5144.4. And I apologize, I don't have their names in front of me.
So 5144.4, that's that physical exercise and discipline of students policy. And the 4113.12 is the minimum duty-free lunch period for teachers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we had a full discussion of that last month. Are people prepared to vote?
Yes,
And,
Okay.
Rose, I'll move that we approve policy numbers 4113.12 and 5144.4.
Great.
Matt Flaggart will second.
Great. Any discussion? Hearing none. We'll- Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Mark?
Just, the 30-minute lunch period, that's also part of their contract, right? I mean, I would have, it's kind
Right.
of, they're
that one
redundant,
is-
right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm good.
Okay. I will poll us again. Policies. Okay, John,
Yes.
Mary Ellen,
yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Mark,
I think you meant Matt.
Oh,
I think I met Matt too. Thank you, Matt,
yeah,
Diane,
Yes,
and Juan.
No,
All right, the motion passes 6 yes and 1 no. Now, we were going to discuss and preview policy numbers 5113.2, 5141.4, and 5145.511. However, there was some technical problems with updating them, so we're going to have to review them next month. So I hope people aren't too disappointed. All right, now we have to do discussion of school security. So I will entertain a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussion of school security.
Rose, can you just invite me into that one, please?
The person who makes the motion, please invite Dr. Sarli.
I'll move that we.
I would also
Go
like
ahead,
to be
Mark.
invited. Bruce.
Well, Ellen, I thought you were ex officio and you were in every meeting. You want to be invited too? Just,
Yeah, so I'll be in the minutes, sure. Because as a participant, I'm usually not in the minutes, whether I'm ex officio or not. Thank you.
okay, so whoever makes the motion, please also invite Alan.
Mary Ellen, you
Mark.
want to go?
Okay, I move I move that we enter executive session for the purpose of discussing school security and invite Dr. Sarli and First Selectman Alan Cahill.
I'll second. How about that?
Okay. I'll call a roll. John,
Yes.
Mary Ellen,
Yes,
Mark,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
yes.
Diane,
yes.
Juan.
yes.
The motion carries unanimously. We will enter executive session at 7:41 p.m.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
night, Sally.
You can just give me one moment, Rose.
Yeah, so
I'm just
Ramona,
gonna
is gonna go in the waiting room?
Yes,
Okay, but Sam was able to leave, right?
yes, Sam signed off. So, in case recording continues, I'm just gonna pause it, for us right
Oh,
now.
yeah. So we are entering executive session at 7:50. No, we are entering public session at 7:50. Okay, so I left the room and neglected to bring my agenda. I'm gonna take just a second and go get the agenda.
That's okay. So as we, Rose is gonna do that, and whoever makes the motion for this next executive session, I would just request that you invite me as well as Robin Kaler into that executive session once Rose
And Alan Cahill.
carries. Oh, sorry, and Alan Cahill. Sorry, Alan.
Problem.
Rose,
Yeah, yes, Mark.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not comfortable going into an executive session right now. We're obviously not all isolated.
I no longer hear those extra sounds. And I'm thinking that it was an accident and that however those extra sounds were coming in has been addressed. Why don't we take a vote? And if enough people are uncomfortable, then we won't go in executive session. How's that? So we need a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussion of CHRO complaint number A23979. And we'd like to invite Robin, is it Kaler? Samantha Sarley and Alan Cahill. Is there anyone who will make that motion?
I'll move it as stated.
And is
You want me
there,
to say it over? I can say it over if you want.
Ramona, do you need it set over or are you okay?
I'm okay.
All right, we could leave it. Is there a second?
I second one.
I have a question. Who is Robin?
Robin is the attorney representing the board.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to call roll. John,
Yes.
Mary Ellen,
Yes.
Mark,
No. Oh, there you go.
yes, I agree. That's a problem. We are clearly not,
Alone.
yeah, clearly not alone. I'm wondering, I don't know what the procedure is here.
Can we finish the vote?
And people will have the understanding that we're clearly not alone.
Correct.
Well, we'll give it a try.
I think someone should make a motion to table.
Motion to
I'll make the
table,
motion,
please.
yeah. Second,
Who seconded?
I did. One,
So we need to do this at another meeting? And we will clearly need to do it at an in-person meeting.
Correct.
So I am really sorry, Attorney Kaler, that you had to come and then we're not doing it.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Thanks, Robin.
Okay, so we'll move on in our agenda item. It's disappointing because the sanctity of executive session is essential. And people want to be informed about this issue, and now they can't be. So my apologies, but I don't see that we can do it.
Okay, I'll leave the meeting at this time.
Yes,
I don't.
thanks.
Okay.
Thank you,
Take
Robin.
care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we have committee and liaisons reports. Communications.
Yeah, I guess, we met, was it last Tuesday? We talked about the website, for the most part. Dr. Sarley just let us know there was, about 24 hours the site was down, due to, oh Lord, can't remember now. License renewing stuff, but that was all taken care of. And now Mona and, a couple other people in the school are working to learn how to, actively update and, just get familiar with the website, so we can make sure it is constantly upgraded, and updated. And let's see, also talking about our next newsletter we want to send out to the town. Our goal is to get it out in May, and our next meeting we'll connect and see what we have for that and start putting it together. And that's all I think. I don't know if Mark or Dr. Charlie has anything else.
Thank you.
Captured it.
We'll move on to finance and operations.
All right. You guys can hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, we met last week, still looking into the mini splits and being able to change over a heating system to eliminate the need for oil. So we are talking with a company ECS, and next meeting we'll be doing a tour of the building with Armand, and just to kind of go over what we have and then how the changes could it be implemented / affect everything. The other thing we talked about is the PA system. Actually did go in, so that was a great upgrade that we just recently were able to record. I'll give Dr. Sarley all the credit on that one, actually. So I thank you for all your efforts on that. And then we also kind of revamped / started looking at the 5-year plan again. It's been a little bit dormant, so just trying to get that up to speed on what we have been doing and then what we are going to be doing in the near future. So still some work to be done on that, but I'm hoping possibly at the next board meeting to have an updated version that the full board could take a look at and maybe act on. So, or I could present it next meeting, and then we could act on it the next meeting, like policies if we want. I think that's it.
Thank you. And policies? That's me. So we met and went over the policies that we wanted to present for tonight. But as I said, we had a technological issue in getting them out to people. So we'll get them out next time. In the meantime, we're doing really well as far as new policies that are required. There aren't any that we are in need of. And so now we're going to go to additions to the agenda, and I'm going to take a second.
There's Rose, you skipped EastCon.
EastCon, yeah.
I apologize, Mary Ellen. Will you please do EastCon?
Sure. We've had some discussions about the budget there and the difference between a district budget and a RESC budget, in that we pass a budget in the district, we pass a budget and live within it, whereas at EastCon, the funds have to be raised. We have to predict the programs that will be needed and where the funding will come in. We're still having some hiring issues, so we can't open up new classrooms until we have the staff. And without the staff, we can't have tuitions for the students. So it's like a puzzle. And we're continuing to monitor the funding because, as you know, there was there was a deficit, and we're in the black now, but it's close. So we're carefully watching that. And we have a retreat coming up. That's about it.
Wonderful, thank you. Now, do we have an addition to the agenda?
Rose, does committee on the evaluation superintendent exist still? 'Cause I didn't hear it mentioned. And has it ever met? 'Cause I'd like to meet.
Rose, you're muted. It's okay.
Thank you. Yes, the committee has met. It exists. It did not meet this month, so I ask that it not be put on the agenda, along with any other committee that did not meet this month.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to say that part of our problem is board members are not responding to the superintendent when she's requesting a meeting. And those meetings are part of what we agreed would be the next step in forming her evaluation. So if board members would respond and we could meet, that would be very helpful.
Who's the other person on that committee besides myself and you?
I don't think you're on it. Are you still
I
on it?
was, and I don't
Mhm.
ever remember being taken off. And if I was taken off, then I strongly object and like to be put back on.
If you were taken off, then the reason you were taken off hasn't changed and you won't be put back on. But if you weren't taken off, I apologize, and you'll certainly get an invitation. I believe Diane Gagnon is the other person on that committee. Am I right, Diane?
That's correct.
Yes.
Diane,
Yes,
I was on that committee, wasn't I? When you started?
no, it was me and Grunberg.
Okay, because at one time it was just Rose and myself, and I just don't remember being taken off, or for whatever reason I was taken off. Sure, it's questionable, but it's okay.
Well, we can find out, I'm sure.
Yes,
Are you talking about the ad hoc superintendent's evaluation committee?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are.
I got a printout here, December 2022. Ad hoc superintendent's evaluation committee assignments, Juan, David Hallback, and Rose.
Well, I apologize, Juan. You weren't taken off, but we haven't met, so you haven't missed anything. And David, you're on it, not Diane? Oh, because we changed committees in November or December.
Okay, so which one was I on with Ann and Matt? Oh, it was Matt.
Okay, I don't know.
Gonna have to go back and regroup
It was
on that.
policies,
Let me
Ian,
know.
or Diane, it was policies.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
So where we are in the superintendent's evaluation is the work we were doing that we needed to do in our monthly meetings was going to inform her evaluation. And because people aren't replying and we're not getting in those monthly meetings, then we're not able to use that to inform her evaluation, which is why we haven't met. So we really need to set up some meetings and have people reply and attend the meeting, and then we'll be able to move forward. So let's aim for that in this next month.
Okay.
Are we going to be receiving emails as to when these meetings are going to take? Are these taking place in person?
You know, we neglected to discuss that, so we need to add that to the agenda. But the good news is we're at additions to the agenda. Did we have anything else that we were supposed to add? Dr. Sarli, you and I discussed something, and I'm having trouble finding it on my phone. So,
Rose, you
do you
got it.
remember what
You
it
actually,
is?
Yep, you actually just said it was when the board would like to return and resume to in-person meetings as opposed to Zoom.
Okay, so there we go. We need to add to the agenda a discussion of when the board returns to in-person meetings. Is there anyone who would like to make that motion?
I would love to make that motion.
Please.
Well, then you've got it. Is there anyone who would like to second the motion?
Second, one,
Okay, so Diane. On.
Rose, may I interrupt for a second?
Yes.
The candidate, Dr. Sarli, the candidate for being appointed to the board is in the waiting room, I believe. I got a text message.
Yes, Mary Ellen, we didn't get to that part of the agenda, so I was just holding him in the waiting room. But Rose, if you want him in, that's your call.
I think it's his call. If he wants to come in now, he may. Or he doesn't have to. He can wait until we actually do it. So you want to ask him?
I'll message him. I'll message him.
We have one more candidate, and I need to let that candidate know that that it's coming up. But again, I'm having trouble with my phone. So if we could just take a minute, and I will. Well, you know what? Actually, I can do it on the computer now, can't I? Oh, maybe not. Oops.
Rose, are both candidates electors in town?
They are.
Okay.
Okay. I found my email, so let me just search him up.
Do we have their names?
We do, but you know what? I'm going to just take a minute and do this so it's done, and then I'll talk.
Okay.
Thank you.
Come on, Mary. Come on.
Okay, I apologize for that. I had planned that we would have a rather long executive session. So I had told the candidate that between 8:30 and 9:30, and it's obviously going to be earlier than that. So I just tried calling him. He didn't answer. I texted him or I emailed him, and we'll see if he makes it on. but we will go back to our business. And where we were at was talking about adding to the agenda a discussion of when we go back to Zoom meetings. Is there someone?
We had a motion and a second on that, actually.
Well, that is wonderful. And I was about to do the roll. So we'll start with John.
Yes, I would like to go back live.
Well, that's not what you're voting for. You're voting for discussing it.
Discussing it.
Somebody
Okay.
please tell me the motion again.
Ramona, can you read for us? I'm sorry, it says Ramona. I know you like Mona. Will you read for us the motion?
Yes, of course. Diane moves to start the discussion of when the board is going to return to in-person meetings. And I have one seconded.
Thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
Dave? So we're
Thank you.
voting to hold the discussion.
Discussion,
Oh.
yes.
Okay.
Mary Ellen?
Yes,
Mark?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes,
And Juan?
Yes.
And we'll make this item, so the motion carries and we'll make it item 14A. Okay, so John has told us that he's hoping we'll go back to in-person meetings. Is there anyone else who wants to add their opinion?
I would
yes,
like
I
to.
would love to.
Okay, so Diane would like to go back to in-person and Dave would like to go back to in-person.
So would I. One.
Juan would like to. Is there anyone else with an opinion?
I'd like to go back to in-person.
Yep.
Majority.
Okay, well, I'm thinking we don't even need a vote. It's pretty clear that we should go back to in-person. So our April meeting will be in person. And we will hold our executive session in our in-person meeting. Okay. Now we have next agenda planning. Is there anything anyone would like to see on the next agenda?
Make sure those policies make it on there.
Yes, we have new policies that we want to present. We clearly have an executive session to discuss the CHRO complaint. If anyone thinks of anything else, please just let us, please let either Dr. Sarli or I know. Please let me know, Dr. Sarli or me know. Thank you.
can I ask you a question?
Yes, you may.
Does this CHRO complaint, is that something that can wait a month? And the other thing is that we had, I don't remember what the term was, diversity, equity, and inclusion, things that we haven't done that we meant to do in person. And is there a possibility of having a meeting to do those things if the CHRO complaint is supposed to be done in a more timely manner than waiting a month?
Well, I don't know what you mean by done. We were going to inform the board about the complaint.
Okay.
But Dr. Sarli will work with the lawyer, and if they believe we should meet sooner, we will.
Okay.
That was unexpected, so it's hard to know exactly the implications until they have a discussion.
Okay.
Rose, just for the record, I asked about that in December, and I probably asked about it in January. The whole time I thought I was just being blown off because it was either Dr. Sarli didn't want to discuss it, or she didn't want to put it on an agenda as an executive session, because I did ask for it, and I finally, I just quit, because what's the point if no one's gonna listen anyway?
So I'm going to disagree with you. You did ask for it. I agree with that. But as I recall, I said Dr. Sarli has to have time to meet with the lawyer and familiarize herself with the complaint and the implications. And we've been waiting for that to happen. And it did take a while, but there were some delays that couldn't be helped. And this was the soonest we could do the information. And unfortunately, we were unable to. So we're going to try to get to it as quickly as we can now.
Okay, only because the actions that led up to that complaint, I think haven't changed on record and should have been made available to us from the very beginning, as soon as that erupted and became a mess.
Well, I think Dr. Sarli needed to understand, and she needed to talk with the lawyer and understand the issues and the implications. And so I made the decision to allow that.
I understand about the implications, but the implications were there because it was just the action that led to all of this could have been done in a more sensible manner and maybe with more forethought than what was done, because now we got a mess on our hands and we're going to have to deal with it.
So I'm concerned that you're discussing it in public session.
What am I discussing in public session? I haven't mentioned anything. All I said was what was.
So you're saying it again now after I expressed
concern. What was the truth? It was a mess then, and it is a mess now.
Dr. Sarli, will
Thank
you
you
please? Thank you. So we are going to go on to. We've agreed to meet in public session. We've agreed to meet in person. So the next agenda item is audience for citizens and staff. I'm going to ask that it be citizens and staff and not board members at this point. Is there anyone who would like to say anything? Okay. In that case, we'll move on to interviews and appointment of new board member. Oh, I'm sorry, Alan, you had something to say?
Yes. The town has been a recipient of a small portion of money on the national opioid settlement. And my mindset and the selectmen agree, we'd rather invest the money in prevention and not rehabilitation. So if there is a program or a presentation that could be integrated into their school curriculum spent on the children. Right now, it's only, I think it's $2,500, but I'd be willing to fund something towards drug prevention that can be incorporated in the school on the children.
All right, we'll ask
into the superintendent or the principal if there's something ongoing or built into next year's budget, or until then I'll hold on to the funds.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Alan, do we have anybody in town who's certified to administer Narcan?
So this is executive session. This is audience for citizens. It's not meant to be a discussion between board members and citizens. And we have not been following that very well, but I've been reminded that I need to enforce it. So I think that we're not going to be able to engage in discussions with the citizens who speak.
So Rose, you're saying that you're taking away our First Amendment right to speak as American citizens? Because I don't remember, I don't specifically remember anything being handed to me to say that the chairman of the board has the right to tell me when I can and cannot speak.
Well, we'll have to.
If you have it on, I need a document that says you have that authority. Otherwise, it's baloney.
Well, thank you for your opinion.
Well, you're welcome to it because your opinion is the same thing to me.
I'm going to move on in the agenda.
Please do.
Okay, so now it's interviews and appointment of new board member. So we just have one person here. I called and emailed the other person who has not answered his phone or gotten back to us.
No,
So
I'm
we
here.
have
Can you hear
Dennis-
me?
We can. Dennis
Okay.
Timberman is here. Dennis, you have the right to request it be in public session. We usually go into executive session. Do you have a preference?
I have no preference, no.
Okay, so I am going to ask, though, that the board be given 5 minutes to prepare, which we would have done at our last week's meeting. But when it was canceled, we weren't able to. So I'd like to request a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of preparing for the interview. And then, Dennis, we can come out. Where did he go? There you are, I'm sorry.
Here, yeah.
And then we can come out and do the interview in public session if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So do we have such a motion
I'll move. We go into executive session.
for the purpose of discussing the interview?
Second.
And
Yes,
Dave
thank you.
is seconding. Let me see, we don't
Dave.
have pictures. I will
Are
call
we
the roll.
inviting Dr. Sarli and Alan as part of the motion?
I'd like to.
Oh, yes. All have been a motion to include Dr. Sarli and Allen.
Thank you. Okay, so I will call the roll. John,
Yes.
Mary Ellen,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Juan.
Yes.
All right, we're entering executive session at 8:22 p.m. Thank you. Okay, we're returning to public session at 8:30 p.m. And Dennis, hi. So we have a few questions for you.
Okay.
You're able to hear me? Okay. So will you please just briefly introduce yourself to the board members?
Okay, I am Dennis Timberman. Some of you may know me and my wife, Wendy. We've been in town since 1985. I was a school teacher. I retired 3 years ago after teaching for 42 years in the Vernon school system. 41 of those years was at Rockville High School. Enjoyed every minute of it. It was a great gig. I've lived here in town. I had 3 children, Heather, Ben, and Nathan, who went to Hampton Elementary School, went to Parish Hill. All have done very well. Had wonderful experiences in the school system. I was on the Board of Education at one time. I can't remember the dates, but I think it was in the early 2000s. I was also filling in a position at that time. I think I served maybe 3 years. Do you remember, Rose? You were on the board.
Yeah, it started in the 80s, because I mean, in the 90s, because
It was
I
the
left
90s, okay.
in 97. So if you were there, if you were there into the early 2000s, it must have been for about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like 6. Well, everything was a blur back then.
Oh, it seemed like 6 years to me. Yeah.
Alan was on the board at that, I think right before I left for my final time. Let's see. I also was active in the recreation department. I was a coach for, I think, 11 years. I coached. I was on the Recreation Commission for 13 years. I headed it for 2 years or 3 years. I also did officiating for soccer, baseball, and basketball, a little bit of basketball. and coached Little League. Actually, it wasn't Little League until, well, I don't think it exists in Hampton anymore. But we did have a Little League charter with Chaplin. For the last 4 years, I was on the rec commission so that we could expand out and get more games for the kids. Other than that, we were all recreation with Scotland a little bit, but mainly with Chaplin and Hampton. Yeah, I worked with a lot of people here in town. And then once the kids got older, I retired back into my quiet self. And right now I'm retired for 3 years and enjoying a quiet life here
So
in
what
Hampton.
makes you interested in joining the board?
Well, I heard that you needed a somebody to fill in again.
We do.
And I'm not heavily pressed for time right now.
Oh.
So, I mean, I do have a life, but but nowhere near when I was on the board last time. When I was on the board last time, I was doing recreation, I was coaching, I was officiating, I had committees at school, and I was also on the Board of Deacons at the Federated Church of Christ in Brooklyn, Connecticut. So I think I had a meeting 4 days almost every week, it seemed like.
Wow.
For like a 3 or 4 year stretch.
Well, we can take care of your free time for you.
Yeah, that doesn't happen anymore right now.
Do you have any goals for your time on the board?
Well, I'm going to get my feet wet again. So I know some of you, and I know some of you pretty well. I served on the board. Mary Ellen was on the board with me at one time, I think right before I left.
Kate.
As well as Alan.
Yeah, Kate was on. Kate was on the same time I was on.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Kate, not me.
Oh, that's right. And so I know some of you pretty well. And, you know, you're a good group. And my last experience on the board was, and I would tell people this, is that you could ask me now until the cows come home. I don't know. Is that a saying, Al? Is that still a saying? You could ask me who's in what party on the board. You know, what is their political affiliation? And I couldn't tell you. I had no idea. Nobody at that time period was on the board for any political agenda at all. It was everybody pitching in and trying to solve problems. Now, that's not to mean that there wasn't disagreements. There were disagreements. And we went through problems just like every board of education. Sometimes it gets messy and sometimes things happen. But to me at the time, people took it very seriously and people rolled up their sleeves and tried to get things done for the best that they could for the kids in town. So I'm hoping that's still the case. And like I said, I know some of you, so I know where you're coming from, and I know you had big hearts then, and I think you have big hearts now.
Thank you.
So anyway, so my goal right now, I'm initially going in, I'll get my feet wet, I'll meet some new people, I'll do a lot of listening, and I'll try to catch up with what you guys are dealing with.
Wonderful. The next question was going to be, what can you contribute to the Board of Ed? But I think you've answered it.
Okay.
And the last question is availability, which I also think you've answered.
Okay.
Yeah. So our process tonight is we have one more interview, and then we're going to choose a new board member, and we'll notify you tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you for expressing your interest and coming in for the interview.
You're welcome. Good to see everybody.
good to see you too.
Thank you.
Yeah. Are you gonna sign me out or should I sign myself out?
You can
or-
sign yourself out. That'd be great.
Okay,
Thanks, Dennis.
okay.
Okay. Oh. Okay, so next we'll invite Matt and right, maybe John hasn't met him, but the rest of us met him because he interviewed at the same time John interviewed.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right, Rose,
Okay,
let him in from the waiting room.
and I will ask him if he'd like to be public or enter executive session. I like that background. Okay, Matt, we can't see you, but it looks like you're there.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and you're purposely not being seen?
I'm in my kitchen right now, so.
Well, I'm in my bathroom. It's executive session and I needed to go where there weren't other people and it was the only place. Okay, so you have the option of doing this in executive session or doing it in public session.
Okay.
The only difference is if we are in public session, our board secretary will be present. But if you are in executive session, she won't be. Everyone else will be the same in either session. Do you have a preference?
No, either way doesn't matter.
Okay, well, why don't we just, for speed, get started. I apologize. I told you much later, but we had an agenda item plan that we were unable to do. So that really upped the schedule. So I'm glad you saw your email in time to make it here.
Sure.
So let's start with, will you please introduce yourself to the board as though you didn't just do this a little bit ago?
Okay. Matt Rivers. I was born and raised in Thompson, Connecticut, not far from Hampton, a little further north. Worked for a steel company out in Putnam for over 20 years, and moved to Hampton about 5 years ago with my now fiance and my daughter at the time, and worked for that company. Ended up basically starting my own company about 2 years ago, and in that time we brought our son in. So now we have two children, one that's currently going to Hampton and one that will soon be going to Hampton. So that's where we are now. I mean, I love the town. I love the school. My daughter's like in love with the school. It seems like everybody loves her very much in the school, which is good. So everybody's seems very welcoming, which is very nice.
Wonderful. Thank you. So can you tell us why you're interested in being on the Board of Ed?
I mean, obviously the number one thing would be to do what we can best for the children and the school itself. I mean, it has to be as smooth and be as effective for the children's learning as the way I see it. And I mean, adding as many new programs as we can, seeing what other towns are doing, and try to help the kids out the best we can. And obviously, we need to watch budgets and stuff like that and how that works. You know, it's new to me. I've done some research, obviously, but it's a new adventure kind of for myself.
Great. Thank you. Do you have any goals you'd like to accomplish by being on the Board of Ed?
One thing I'd really love to see is more sports for the kids, more things for the kids to use the grounds that the school has. I would say, I mean, get them outside, let them run around. We can do things with other towns, whether it's baseball teams, soccer teams, or stuff like that. I think it would help out immensely.
Well, that's not something we've heard recently, so thank you. And what skills can you specifically contribute to the board?
I mean, as you know, I own my own small business, so fortunately I have to be very careful with numbers, otherwise my business won't keep going. So, I mean, that would be one thing I could help. The previous company I worked for, I was a project manager, estimator. So, I mean, everything was about keeping those numbers under control, making sure things could work with the numbers you had, type of thing. So, I mean, I always like doing it. It's painful as it can be sometimes, but it has to be done.
Yeah, it would not be good if we went over budget.
No, that's not good for any business or anything like that.
It wouldn't be good for the jobs of the people who work at the school
No.
either. Yeah, because we can't go over budget. Yeah. Okay, so sometimes being on the Board of Ed requires a time commitment. Are you available? Do you have time to spend on regular board meetings and on committee meetings?
Yeah, I mean, that's one perk I have of being the owner and working for myself. I can set my own hours. Obviously, I still need to keep the business going, but that's the one enjoyment that I have now is if I don't have work to do, well, there's plenty of other things to do, and I can kind of schedule my work around what has to be done, type of thing.
That is an advantage. That's very nice. Well, that was all the questions we had tonight. Did you have anything you wanted to ask us?
No, I mean, like I said, I'll continue to do some research and actually see how it actually works, the board works and how everything works, you know, and hopefully we can move forward. And
Great. Thank you. So our process is that we're gonna choose a new board member tonight, and we'll notify tonight, but I will text you, okay?
Okay.
Then you don't have to wonder which electronic means it will be showing up in.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for showing interest, your continued interest, and for coming to the interview tonight.
Okay, I appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Matt.
So you can leave, or we can ask Dr. Sarli to terminate you. It's up to you. There we go. Okay. Any discussion, or is there someone who wants to make a motion, or what do you want to do?
Are we going to discuss an executive session or in public? It's recorded.
Well, nobody requested being in executive session, so I'm comfortable discussing what is the board's pleasure, though. You can make a motion and we can go into executive session.
Let's stay public.
Do other people agree? Not hearing disagreement.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
I'm gonna assume. Okay, so what are people's thoughts?
I think Timberman has been there. He's done that. And I think, you know, I think we should go with him. He's got the experience, and I do know him from sport. I know his wife, obviously, but I know him from sports, from the kids being in sports. And you know, I think he would fill in very well.
Okay. Anyone else want to discuss?
Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. Mark?
I mean, I will say, you know, as one of the parents that has been on the board now for quite a long time, is, you know, that parent involvement and I'll say motivation is important. They have that day-to-day connection to the school that you don't get with somebody that's retired and has grown kids. So
How about those of us who are retired with no kids?
well, there you go. I mean, same point.
Well, I'm going to disagree with that point, but anyway.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think being I don't know. I made my point. So I don't know, so that Matt would also be a bad candidate. I think he would work hard and try to do what's right for the school, and he would be motivated with two young kids, as I have been, so.
I was just gonna say something similar. I like the idea of having the parents on the board. I mean, a good mix, obviously, board members. But Mr. Timmerman does really bring, a lot of past experience of being on a board and working in schools, as well as he has the time commitment, we know. But I'd be down with either candidate, I think.
I am going to encourage Nicole, who wasn't registered in time, and whoever doesn't get picked to please run for the board, especially the parents. And I agree, there have been times when we've had more parents than non-parents, and other times when we've had more teachers than non-teachers, and other times when we've had more business people. It seems to fluctuate. But I will encourage everyone who expressed an interest to run. There's even one person who expressed an interest and realized he didn't have the time right now. I will encourage, he's a parent, I'll encourage him to run too. I think people need encouragement. So does someone want to make a motion for who we will, for who to appoint?
I'll make a motion for Timberman.
Okay, so Diane makes a motion to appoint Dennis Timberman as a to the Board of Education.
Second.
Thank you, Dave, for the term ending. Oh, I forget the November date. 1 minute, I'll look fast. It will end on election day once we know who won, because it's a replacement term. November 7th, 2023. We have a first and a second. I will call a roll. John?
I almost want to abstain only because I don't know either one of these candidates, and I really don't. I can only give the board my support. That's about the best I could do. I mean, I've heard what they've got to say. I don't really know much about them.
So you're abstaining?
If I could.
You can, of course. Mary Ellen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Matt? Matt, you're
Sorry. Yes.
okay. Diane?
Yes.
And Juan?
Mr. Timberman.
Okay, so the motion passes with 6 yeses and 1 abstention. I'll ask, today's Wednesday, I'll ask Dennis to be sworn in with the town clerk at his earliest convenience. Thank you all. That leaves us with adjournment. Is there anyone who would like to move to adjourn?
So
I'll move.
moved.
Okay. We'll say Diane lit up first, so we'll say Diane moved, Mary Ellen seconded, and I will call roll. John?
Yes.
Conveniently, I've been last also.
Yeah, only because you came on last, so you're the last one on my screen. I do it in order of who shows up on my screen, so I don't then get confused. It always stays the same, so I apologize for that one. When I send an email out, you're always first because your last name begins with A. Mary Ellen?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
I
Diane?
like the yep.
And Juan?
See.
That was yes? Okay, we are adjourned at